Hello, Dippers, and welcome to the 2019 NBA Draft Special of Humpday Hysteria. I'm your host, producer, as always, Leighton Pip Shavington, and with me is our Killers correspondent, basketball genius, Fletcher Hoig.
I was listening this week. They had Dennis Rodman, or maybe it was late last week. I can't remember now. They had Dennis Rodman on the jump. And one of his talks about the Warriors and the 95, 96 Bulls playing each other was who's going to guard MJ. And, I just want to remind people of one thing here. The Detroit Pistons, Michael Jordan couldn't even beat them before he got Scottie Pippen, but he was guarded by 6'3", 185 Joe Dumars. And then John Starks, 6'4", 190-pound shooting guard out of New York, gave Jordan all he wanted. And then 6'7", 190-pound Reggie Miller, who had a career 14 double-doubles, gave Jordan so much work that he decided to choke him in the middle of the court in the middle of the game. And then 6'3", 190-pound Steve Kerr worked him over so bad in practice that he decided to punch him in the face. So let's not act like Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant would all fall over like a limp dick guarding Michael Jordan. Okay, it's a different game. The whole hand checking thing works both sides. So I mean, you give a bigger guard like Klay Thompson the ability to hand check, it changes things for Jordan as well. I just wanted to say that.
And those are the things we get from Hysteria. Fletcher just brings us insight into his opinions. You act for him or not.
Yes.
Alright, so like I said, this is the NBA Draft Special. So what we're going to do is, we're going to run through every team's draft. We're going to give it a grade, real quick. Get it close to half an hour as possible. Before we do that, let's drop the noise.
Humpday. Who's Hysteria?
A Sauce on the Side production.
Alright, Dippers. I'm my stopwatch ready. We're just going to keep all these to 1 minute or less. So, Fletcher, we'll start with the Celtics. They drafted Romeo Langford, Grant Williams, and Carson Edwards.
Yep. Well, I tell you what, Romeo Langford, I was really high on him coming into the year. Had some injury problems, a bit inconsistent from shooting from the outside. Overall, though, he's a really good athlete. He's kind of what they drafted in Jaylen Brown a couple of years ago. And then, Grant Williams, he improved his game a lot. Carson Edwards, another guy. Those are two guys that they have veteran kind of college players who stayed in college for a while, prove that they can do one or two things really well. So I think they're hoping for the best for Romeo Langford, Grant Williams, and Carson Edwards. I think they are going to try to develop them to a special skill set to be a particular kind of role player in the NBA. So overall, I think the draft grade that I'm going to give them is probably a C+ or a B-.
Yeah, I'm just going to give them a B. I think that they did really good for what they have, especially not knowing what they're going to get this offseason in free agency. And before we move to the next team, Fletcher, Carson Edwards, is he going to start for the Celtics? Being as they're not going to have Kyrie, might not have Terry Rozier?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that they will. I think in the very worst case scenario, they might try to find a guy like a Darren Collison maybe and sign him to a 1-year deal. But the thing is, you can't even look at the Celtics as really true contenders right now, losing Al Horford and Kyrie Irving.
All right, our next team is the 76ers. I'd give it a C-. They drafted Melis Thibault and Mariel Shayak, who are probably guys who might not ever make a real impact in the NBA.
Yeah, you know what? I'm probably right there with you. I'll probably give them a C-. They didn't really do anything. They got, okay value for where they were picking. But at the same time, you have to look at, what's actually going to be, contributed as far as points added, stuff like that. I don't see a whole lot of shakeup here. They just did what they could pretty much.
Yep. Next team, the Nets. They got Nick Claxton and Jalen Hands, both second-round picks. I mean, second-round pick, can't do how much of that. I'm going to give him a C+.
I'm going to give him a B-. Nick Claxton, he's a long big. He's can defend the rim. They needed a backup center to put behind Jonathan Allen. I think they found that in Nick Claxton. They also need a depth at guard. They might get Kyrie Irving. They might lose D'Angelo Russell. Who knows exactly. So, they needed to add a guard. They did it with Jalen Hands. I think the 2 second-round picks they got were great value. So I'm going to give them a B-.
Yep. Our next team is the New York Knicks. They got R.J. Barrett and Ingus Brazdeikis in the second round. I'm going to give them an A because we'll see what I'm to do.
Yeah, I should have prefaced this earlier, but I'm gonna. A part of my draft grade is including how I think that the team is going to shape moving forward as well. And so I'm not gonna give him an A. I think R.J. Barrett, a pick by itself, is an A. I'm going to give them an A minus though, just because they went from thinking that they were going to, trade that pick and get Anthony Davis, sign Kyrie, sign Kevin Durant, do all these things. And to open up that cap space, they had to trade away Kristaps Porzingis too. So they could have had Porzingis, they could have had Knox, they could have had R.J. Barrett. They could have had a really impressive big young core moving forward. They don't have it, so I'm going to give them an A minus. But getting R.J. Barrett was great for them.
Yeah, and the next whole offseason, we talked about it every week on the show. You can't get much worse from here. If R.J. Barrett tells you Achilles walking out of the stadium tomorrow morning, only they can make it worse.
That's about it.
The NBA champion Toronto Raptors had one pick, DeJuan Hernandez, in the second round. I don't know, when you're a champion, you don't get a whole lot of picks in your good team. That's kind of how it works out.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm going to give him a C minus.
I'm just going to give them an A because they won the championship. They traded away their first-round pick as a part of that, Kawhi Leonard deal. So that's why they, picked so late in the second and had that one pick only. But they won a title, so hats off to them. They made it work. They obviously, you do whatever you can to win a title. And if all you got to do is trade Jakob Poeltl and a first-round pick and DeRozan to win a title, every team's going to do that, I think.
Next team, Chicago Bulls. They drafted Kobe White in the first round and then Gafford in the second round. I'll talk about this on Monday. I'm going to give them an A. I love the Kobe White pick. A lot of times teams this bad, the Bulls should have had a top 5 pick. A lot of times teams this bad just go for the best talent available, but they need a point guard, and they got a point guard I think to be really good in the NBA. So I give them an A.
Yeah, one thing that's funny about this draft pick that when I was watching the draft is Jay Billis says, and Kobe White, he's a legitimate 6'5" point guard. I looked him up on the NBA app, and they had him listed as 6'3". So there's never really a true height for any one player ever. Great pick by the Bulls. They needed a point guard. They needed somebody to score the basketball. They got both. You look at fit and best player available. I think they got that in Kobe White in the 7th pick. We're going to talk about this more, but the Suns, you needed a point guard. You traded away out of the 6th spot. You could have had Kobe White before the Bulls got him. Stupid, but I'm going to give the Bulls an A. They got and Daniel Gafford, really great, another great value pick in my opinion. So, good job by the Bulls.
Next team is the Cavaliers. They had 3 first-round picks.
Yep.
Darius Garland, Dylan Windler, and Kevin Porter Jr.
Right.
For this grade, I'm going to take a little bit more Fletcher's side and think about the team going forward. I'm going to give them a C minus because I don't know what the hell is going on in Cleveland right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give them a B plus. And for one, Darius Garland and Colin Sexton. I mean, here's what the thing is. I talked about. The NBA draft gives you roughly 1 to 2 All-Stars a year, and then they give you about 8 guys who make it to a serious second and third contract in the NBA. And at some point, you can't just be like, well, this guy fits best with our team. You have to just take the guy that's there and gives you that best chance of being that All-Star or, getting those multi-contracts like that in the NBA. Darius Garland was definitely that guy at 5. So I can't fault them for taking the pick. It shows me that they're willing to give up on Colin Sexton. I read somewhere earlier today that Colin Sexton and Darius Garland are kind of like Monte Ellis and Steph Curry if both players are Monte Ellis. So I think they're going to move off Sexton at some point. Dylan Windler, terrific shooter, shot 67% from 2, 43% from 3. Kevin Porter Jr., extremely immature, but I've talked about him a lot. Awesome athlete, awesome offensive upside. So I really like what the Cavaliers did, so I'm going to give them a B+.
All right. Next team is the Detroit Pistons. They got, and dude, some really tough names here. Sekou Doumbouya, Davidas Sharidis, Isaiah Roby, and Jordan Bone.
Got easy with the last 2.
Yep, thank you, Detroit. They really thought ahead for the show. I want to give them a B because they just got a lot of young players, and their franchise not really going right now, so I think it's good they bulked up on some young guys.
Yeah, they filled out the roster here with some okay guys, some guys who will contribute. The Davidas Servitas, I can't say his name very well either. It's going to be probably a year or 2 before he comes over, so you're not going to see any immediate impact out of him right away. The Sekou Doumbouya, he played in the French league, I believe, and he was expected to go in the lottery, and so that was higher up in the lottery. So that was a pretty good pick for the Pistons, I think, getting him where they did. And then Isaiah Roby, Jordan Bone, just more guys to fill out the roster at a very contract team friendly level. So I like what the Pistons did. Didn't really move the dial a whole lot, so I'm going to give them a B.
Our next team, Fletcher, is your Indiana Pacers. They had 1 pick. It was Goga
Bitadze, yeah.
Bitadze. Before the draft, I don't know who this guy was, But I
Yeah.
read about him a lot today, and he appears to be 7 feet tall and the most NBA-ready big man in the draft. So I'll give you a B.
Yeah, I was watching the draft, and I'm like, boy, I wonder who we're taking. And they said Goga Bitadze out of Georgia, and I'm like, I never heard of that fucking guy. But he's 19 years old. He's
Country of Georgia, not college,
yes,
but public.
Country of Georgia, because they said that he really looked up to Zaza Pachulia, and I'm like, out of all the fucking guys to look up to, like that's who you got. But anyway, he is 19 years old, very young, very skilled for his age. He's going to continue to grow into his body. He's going to continue to grow into his game. Basically, what they have is almost a guy who's ready to come in and be a legitimate backup center in the NBA. You don't have to go out and pay a guy like Kyle O'Quinn or anything like that. People expected him to go to the lottery or in the lottery, and he fell to 18 to the Pacers. So I can't hate on it too much. Plus, we traded for T.J. Warren. We basically just gave a little bit of cash, got T.J. Warren. So I'm fine with that too. If he shot over 40% from three last year, I just need him to actually show up and play games. So I like the pick. I'm gonna go B+.
All right, next is the Milwaukee Bucks. They had no picks. Once again, when you're a good team, that's what happens. You take picks away.
Sometimes
so I'm not going to give them a draft grade.
I will just give them a A- for making it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay. Our next pick is the Atlanta Hawks. They traded up to 4 with the Lakers. They got DeAndre Hunter. They got Cam Reddish at 10. And they got Bruno Fernando in the second round. This is a fucking A+.
Yep.
They want to put pieces around Trae Young, and now they got DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish. Both very tall guys. Talking about last week, both over 6'8", both big, both can touch the floor a little bit. I think this is a great draft for the Hawks.
Yeah, I think they almost have a better draft than the New Orleans Pelicans, honestly. They made a move. The way they saw things is, they saw DeAndre Hunter as a legitimate fourth best player. I know a lot of people were giving Darius Garland a lot of attention. And so, but they were big on DeAndre Hunter. You look at his frame, you look at his size, you look at his body, you look at his offensive, prowess that he exhibited this year. I love that pick for them. And then they get Cam Reddish to fall all the way to 10. Talk about a fucking gift. So that was nice to see. They got two quality players there in the first round. And then Bruno Fernando, a guy that people thought would go late in the first, slid all the way to the second to them. They've got a legitimate backup center to put behind John Collins now. They've got a really exciting young core. I'm excited for the Atlanta Hawks to see what they can do. So A+, big time.
All right, our next team is the Charlotte Hornets. They got PJ Washington and Cody Martin. I give them a B+. We talked about last week how we both liked PJ Washington, how we didn't understand why he was falling so much in mock drafts. They got him at 12. So I think he'd be okay, maybe a player, B+.
Yeah, I think PJ Washington's a great pick for where they got him there. I was reading a couple different places today that said they didn't really like PJ Washington. I'm like, he jumped almost 17% in the 3-point percentages from his freshman to sophomore year. He's still got the long frame of the body. I don't understand what's not to like about that pick. I think Cody Martin was a pretty fucking dumb pick. They picked him early in the second round. It's like, dude, he's an extremely slow guard. His highlight tape, nothing pops about his highlight tape. I think he kind of got picked on. People fell in love with him. He's a known commodity just because of what Nevada did, and so I think that kind of carried him a little bit. But I think that was a horrible pick. So I'm gonna have to go B-.
All right, our next team is the Heat. They got Tyler Hero and KZ Okpala.
Yes.
I don't think Tyler Hero's gonna be a great NBA player. I think he'll might be out of the league. Kind of phased out here in 2 or 3 years. I'm gonna give him a C-.
Yeah, I don't understand the Tyler Hero pick at all. I thought they extremely reached for him. KZ Okpala, a very athletic player out of Stanford. I think I like that pick. Another good value pick. I gotta go C- too. I think it's a pretty dumb pick going that early on Tyler Hero.
Our next team is Orlando Magic. They had one pick in second round, Chuma Akiki.
Yep.
Once again, this one will take out your philosophy on the team going forward. I'm going to give it a C- because they were a team who surprisingly made the playoffs this year, and they didn't really take anything in the draft to get better going forward next year. We know they're not going to sign any free agents, so basically they're hoping that Jonathan Isaac and Mo Bamba can develop this offseason and become, I guess, more focal points of the team next season. I don't like that strategy for them, so I'm going to give him a C-.
Yeah, Chuma Okeke, I like him as a prospect, but I like him healthy too. He tore his ACL in March, so he's going to miss the whole year. not much going for me there. I think they're going to lose Nikola Vucevic in free agency, so I got to give him a D plus. To be honest with you, I just the fact that I like him healthy is what gets him the plus, though.
Okay. And our last team in Eastern Conference, Washington Wizards. They drafted Rui Hachimura and Admiral Schofield. I give this a D plus. I think this is I don't like this at all. The only reason I give it a D plus because I think they got really good value in Admiral Schofield in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Rui Hachimura, he can't handle the basketball. He had more turnovers than assists every year at Gonzaga. He can't stretch the floor. He's only 6'9". His style of basketball being phased out of the NBA already. I don't like him. D plus.
Yeah, I like Rui Hachimura as a prospect. Not to the Washington Wizards, though. They already have a better version of him in Jabari Parker if he's healthy. I don't understand that pick at all. I thought Cam Reddish was an obvious selection there. I like Admiral Schofield being taken in the second round, another good value pick. But the thing is, you still have Brad Beal on the roster. Trade him. Like, what are you waiting for? Get something out of him. I don't. It's not like they're waiting. No one's going to give you a written invitation to trade Brad Beal. You got to figure something out here. You have to pick a direction to move forward with. So I'm going to give him a pretty low draft grade. I'm going to go D's also.
Nippers. Now we'll take a break from the grades and go to Flex on the Fly. Take a segment each week where I ask 1, 2, 3 questions, ask them all on the fly. Mm-hmm. The past 3 or 4 weeks we've done Word Association, just real quick answers. We're going to do that one more time. We're going to use the same NBA Draft Word Association questions from this past Toss on the Side episode with me and Drake.
Okay.
Best player.
Best player out of the draft?
Yes, best player.
Oh, Zion.
And feel free to elaborate on any of these you feel like you want to elaborate on.
Okay, I don't think I need to elaborate on that one.
Best fit.
Best fit? Damn, that's tough. I think I'm going to have, right off the top of my head, I'm going to go DeAndre Hunter. I think he fits in perfectly with what Atlanta wants to do. They want to add, especially with Cam Reddish, they want to have their playmaker, their shooter in Trae Young, and then they want to just have playmaking wings out there. They've got Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, even John Collins at centers, a talented guy who can step away from the basket. So I think fit DeAndre Hunter goes great with the Hawks.
Steal,
man, I think either I think Jackson Hayes at 8 for the Pelicans might be a steal. I think Kobe White at 7 might be a steal for the Bulls, just depending on what those two guys can become, especially, with what's around them as well. I think that they could really blossom into something impressive.
Bust.
Man, I hate to say it, but I think Ja Morant is a guy who could potentially bust. Little wiry, little ball centric. I've never really been big on those kind of guards. He's 6'3", 175. Not the biggest athlete or biggest frame either. So I'm hopeful for him and I like him, but I could see him being a bust in the NBA. Unfortunately.
Best draft.
I think it's a coin flip. I think it's either between the Atlanta Hawks or the New Orleans Pelicans. I think I'm going to have to, not for draft reasons, but just the fact that they have Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and 3 other picks. They really acquired a lot of draft capital, made a lot of moves on the draft. So for that, I think I got to go for the Pelicans, even though it's not actually a part of the draft.
Worst draft.
Worst draft. That's a good one.
Good. 2 candidates, in my opinion.
Wow. Well, I think the Heat are definitely up there. Tyler Hero was a dumb pick in my mind, and I also think, like I said, I like Rui Hachimura. I think he could be, develop into a really impressive player. Not going to happen on the Wizards, in my opinion. So I think, even though those are 2 teams that we just discussed, maybe that's why I'm picking it because they're fresh in my mind. Those 2 are really popping out to me.
And best trade.
Well, I think you got to go Anthony Davis getting traded to the Lakers. I mean, David Griffin had really just come in overnight and changed the whole outlook of that franchise. So,
and that had been Puts on the Fly. We'll have that episode of the show. Now to Western Conference. Denver Nuggets, 1 pick, ball. This is an easy A because no risk here. Second round pick, super high reward if it works out.
Yeah, A+ for me. He could be, a top 5 kind of talent. And you're going to be paying him like $580,000 over the next 2 years. So, literally, no risk, 100% upside, and I really like it, and I hope it pans out for him. A+.
Minnesota Timberwolves, they got Jarrett Culver at Joe Noel. Obviously traded up with the Suns to get Jarrett Culver.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him, I don't know, I'm going to B-. Not really sure which direction they're going to go this offseason. I think they might trade Andrew Wiggins. So just knowing that, B-.
Yeah. For me, I got to go C+. You know, the whole reason why they acquired Jimmy Butler to begin with in Minnesota, 2 years ago, was so they could keep Wiggins at the 2. Wiggins plays a better game, better style, more efficient, kind of game at the 2. He gets to kind of oversize some of those 2 guards. He's not a super dominant, super physical presence. I think he kind of gets shoved around by a lot of the 3s and 4s in the NBA. So with that being said, I mean, you draft a guy in Jarrett Culver who could be pretty good. At the same time, though, you're forcing Wiggins to kind of play out of position for what's best for him, I think. So I got to give that a C+.
Next, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder. They had 1 pick, second round, Darius Bazley. I'm going to give them a C+ because they got a player that they can pay $500,000 because they have no money at all.
Yeah, it's kind of a stupid trade or a stupid draft pick. I mean, they traded down to get Darius Bazley, and they didn't really even come off of that much to trade down. Normally if you trade down, you want to dump some salary or something like that. They didn't do much of anything, and then on top of that, they got a guy who can fill out the roster for cheap, but at the same time, the guy's all potential on the offensive end. He has not developed or shown any kind of offensive skill whatsoever, which is what they need. They need more shooting on that team, on that roster. They drafted a guy who's ready to come in and be a physical presence with the ball and defend well, but they don't really need that. They need a guy who can go out there and defend and shoot, and so they didn't address either one of those needs. So I have to go C-.
All right. Next team is the Portland Trailblazers. They got a gift to Nigel Little at 25. I'm going to give them a B+ because Nigel Little is a really good forward. They're kind of lucky if he fell to him.
Yep.
Top 3 prospect going to college last year. Had a very up and down season at North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Great potential, so B+.
I'm going to go A-. This is, in my eyes, I'm looking at a guy who's very similar to that of Rui Hachimura as far as their game goes and what they can bring to the floor. But the difference here is just, fit and kind of, what's around him. He went to a very favorable situation compared to Rui Hachimura. And for that, I got to go A- there. You look at what you're paying him compared to Rui Hachimura, and then also who's around him, the culture and environment of Portland compared to Washington. So everything about this pick is changed except for the prospect itself, more or less. But it's that environment I think is going to carry it forward. So I got an A-.
All right, the next team is the Utah Jazz. Justin Wright Foreman and Mariani. I'm going to take, once again, Fletcher philosophy and think of the team going forward. I'm going to give them a B because they got Michael Conley, and now they can have a legitimate chance at competing in the Western Conference.
Yeah, I'm going to go B+. I like it a lot. They have a legitimate big 3 now: Donovan Mitchell, Michael Conley, and Rudy Gobert. And Donovan Mitchell's still on his rookie deal, so they can kind of try to go out and fish for really good players. They lost Korver and Crowder, guys who can contribute right now. But they, like I said, since they're not paying Donovan Mitchell yet, they can go out and spend a little bit extra on some shooters and some nice role players on that team.
Our next team is the Golden State Warriors. They had 3 draft picks on the second round: Jordan Poole, Alan Smailagic, and Eric Pascal. I'm giving them a C+ for the same reason I gave the Thunder a C+. They're not going to have a whole lot of money going forward. They got 3 players. They can pay $500,000 for 4 years if they all work out.
I'm going to give it a B-. I really like Jordan Poole. He's a guy who can shoot, he can score. In Golden State, losing Kevin Durant, losing Klay Thompson. I mean, they could be losing Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson to completely different teams. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Maybe with Kevin Durant, not so much Klay Thompson, but they're going to, even if they sign them back, they're going to be missing all of next year, or most of it anyway. So I like Jordan Poole. He can come in and he can score off the bench for them. He might even be called to start depending on how the roster shakes out. So I think it's a really good value pick.
All right, next team is the Los Angeles Clippers. They drafted Mfiondu Kabengele and Terrence Mann. I'm going to give them a C+ too. There are 2 guys who might pan out in the NBA, might be solid role players for them going forward.
Yeah, it's in my mind, it's pretty much just your average pick. They already got a good young core, so there's not much to complain about. I think they're just trying to add pieces to the roster cheaply, and so they can be flexible in free agency. So I'll give them a C plus too. Nothing really much going on there for me.
Next, Los Angeles Lakers got Taylor Horn Tucker at Mississippi State.
Yep.
I'm going to give them a B minus because they got Anthony Davis.
Yeah, they got Anthony Davis. They actually traded into that 44th, 46th pick, something like that, to get him. His measurables are, pretty impressive. 7'1" wingspan, got the same hand size as Kawhi Leonard. I think they want him to shoot it a little bit better than what he does, though. But, if he gets that jump shot right, he's going to be a tremendous, kind of value pick like I've been talking about. A D and 3 guy to put next to LeBron very cheaply. So I kind of like it.
Our next team is the Phoenix Suns. They drafted Cameron Johnson and Ty Jerome. I'm going to give this a D minus. Because they could have had Kobe White, they need a point guard, and they decided to trade back and draft Cameron Johnson, who's a really good 3-point shooter in college, but he's only 23 years old. They could have got him way later than this if they did trade back again. It didn't make any sense for me at all.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go a little higher. I think I'm going to give him a C plus. Cameron Johnson does shoot it extremely well from 3. They came off a guy who was shooting it well from 3, but wasn't, demonstrating much health in T.J. Warren, and so he's going to be, kind of asking for a contract here coming up too. So they got another guy. They kind of reset, the cap for him, get another guy for cheap. They put him out there with Mikal Bridges, 2 young wings. They definitely reached on Cameron Johnson, but they also acquired Dario Saric. Mm-hmm. They've been kind of looking for that stretch 4, that point 4 to have out there on the court for a long time, and they've been missing on a lot of different pieces for it. So having him, next to Ayton now, I think they're going to go after Terry Rozier in free agency. So I'm gonna go a little higher than you did, but they still have some on the table. But it's the Suns, so they've got plenty of room to mess up.
Yeah. Now the Sacramento Kings, you got Justin James, Kyle Guy, and Venta Markovic. I'm going to give them a B minus, and I think Kyle Guy is going to be like Cook Heinrich and just be the backup point guard in Sacramento for the next 11 years.
I'm going to go a little lower than you did. I'm going to give him a C plus, but still just because of Kyle Guy. I like Kyle Guy. They got him late, so that's all I really have to say about them.
All right. The Dallas Mavericks, the next team, they have no picks in the draft, but they got Kristaps Porzingis, so C plus.
Yeah, and the thing is, they traded this year's pick away to Atlanta to get Luka Doncic. So, and I would take Luka Doncic. I've been big on Luka Doncic going into the last draft. I was on him all this year for Rookie of the Year. He won Rookie of the Year. He is by far and away the best rookie in my mind, not even close. And so having him, having Kristaps Porzingis, you are hoping to find 2 guys like that in the draft. And so the fact that they weren't picking this year, it's not a big deal at all because they've got 2 young guys that are going to be great for them moving forward. And they're expected to offer Kristaps like the full max, like 5 years, $158 million. So.
All right, and next team, the Houston Rockets, also have no picks.
Yeah, whatever.
Lots has happened. They might be the first time ever that... Oh, never mind. False alarm. The Spurs are also in Texas. Never mind. Plus, Texas will have rookies in the NBA. But Rockets, no picks, so no good.
Yep. No, I'm not too excited for them moving forward. They're talking about maybe trying to get Jimmy Butler. My thoughts are, good luck with that. Good luck with able to sign him, getting the money open, and then even getting him, Chris Paul, and James Harden to all get along. Good fucking luck.
Yeah. There's another guy to do with the basketball. Daryl Morey. So some GMs, I love it. Some GMs just have making deals in their blood.
Yeah.
And I'm dying to know the details of the clusterfuck trade that Daryl Morey is going to try to pull off with some team for a sign and trade Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Next team, the Memphis Grizzlies. Drafted John Morant in 2 overall and got Brandon Clark in the 20s. I don't give them a minus. We like John Morant. I think Brandon Clark could be an okay NBA player, but I think John Morant's be a great player for the Memphis Grizzlies. A minus.
Yeah, I'm going to go same grade you gave him. I know I mentioned John Morant as a potential bust, but I mean, honest to God, like everybody has the potential to bust. So I like John Morant in the pairing with Brandon Clark. I think that's going to be really exciting moving forward. I'm really excited for the Memphis Grizzlies. They, acquired some other, role players in that trade. So I think it's a good time for Memphis. They've got, young pieces around there too already from other trades that they've pulled off. So I'm excited for them, and I think, A minus.
Next team is the New Orleans Pelicans. They got the prize in Zion Williamson, Jackson Hayes, and Marco Luzard Silva. I'm going to give them a B+, but it's like an 89 point, then infinite nines, just because they drafted Jackson Hayes over Cam Reddish.
Yeah, you know what? They also drafted the Nkil Alexander kid, shooting guard. He's actually the cousin of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So they got him as well, and they're kind of young guard. A+ for me, not even a question. You might have the most athletic front court in the NBA. The prospect of Lonzo Ball and Zion Williamson in the front court together, in the open court together, is really exciting. Brandon Ingram, if he stays healthy, he's already proven to be an 18 point a game kind of guy. Everything about this, and they've got $30 million in cap space open now too, because they came off that Solomon Hill contract. So just really just good times right now down in New Orleans. So A+ for me, not even a question.
All right, our last team in the Western Conference and the NBA, San Antonio Spurs. They got to Luka Samanic, Kellen Johnson, and Quinton Witherspoon. I'm going to give them a B-. I think got some pretty good players there. Kellen Johnson, I got a chance to see him play in high school. He was absolutely dominant. Didn't have that great year at Kentucky, very up and down, but he's like a 19-year-old kid still. Great potential. I think Pop, if he stays there in San Antonio long enough, Kellen Johnson could be a really good NBA player. So B+.
Yeah, I mean,
B.
You've got to go A++ for the Spurs, just for the mere fact that you have personal assurances from Skip Bayless that Derek White and Dejounte Murray are superstars in the making, and so I'm sure they already have 3 superstars in there that they just drafted now in the making too. In all seriousness, I'm going to go B-. I think Luka Samanic, I believe is his name. Good pick. Not quite a true big, but he's going to work with Popovich. Keldon Johnson, elite athlete, elite prospect in high school. I think he's going to shape him and give him a particular role in San Antonio. He's going to have some great mentors there, not only with Pop, but guys, true pros like DeMar DeRozan, guys like that to watch. So I'm going to go B- for them.
Dippers, and that has been the 2010 NBA Draft Special. Plus, before we sign off, anything else?
Next year in the draft, and really for college basketball altogether, be ready for a guy named Anthony Edwards. He's going to play at Georgia. I think he's like the 4th, 5th, 3rd best recruit in the country. Going to play at Georgia, shooting guard. He decided to go to Georgia since they have Tom Crean as the coach there. Tom Crean coached Dwayne Wade at Marquette, and then he coached Victor Oladipo at Indiana. Anthony Edwards went there just because of Tom Crean's track record of developing these guys, these kind of guards, and getting them ready for the NBA. He's got a much bigger frame than Dwayne Wade and Victor Oladipo did. He's about 6'5", over 200 pounds, more highly ranked than Dwayne Wade and Victor Oladipo coming out of high school as well. So you look at that kind of frame, that kind of potential and recruiting rank. He could be another guy under Tom Crean who really excels when he gets to the NBA. So look for him in next NBA draft.
Nippers, this has been Hoops Hysteria. We will not be back next week unless something amazing happens. But in 2 weeks, hopefully all players sign. We'll have a fantasy special. So hopefully, come back for that in 2 weeks. From Leighton, from Fletcher, as always, Dippers, stay saucy.